Hey everybody, and welcome to the second video for topic 5. So what's going to happen is that we're going to follow our same steps that we just did. This time just might require maybe one more step than we had to do before. So if we look, let's go through our checklist. Step 1 was to make sure the absolute value bars are alone. In this case, they are. So our check 1 for our step 1. Now we need to divide up into our positive case and our negative case. When we do that, for a positive case, we just drop our absolute value bars. When we do our negative case, we change them to parentheses and put a negative outside. From there, we solve both equations just like we have been. So, opposite operation to the non-variable term. We're left with 2y equals 14. And then we need to divide by the coefficient to get y by itself. So y equals 7 is one of our solutions. Next, we need to solve our negative case. So in order to do that, this time I'm going to distribute so I can show you guys that both ways work. So I end up getting negative 2y plus 4. Oop, I made a mistake. It should be minus 4, right? Forgot to distribute to my second term. Equals 18. Now I can go to my non-variable term and apply the opposite operation. And I am left with 2y negative 2y equals 22. Divide by my coefficient. Same thing to the other side. And I get y equals negative 11 as my second solution. So for my answer at the top, I'm going to write y equals negative 11, comma 7. Let's check out the next one. I'm going to divide it so we can not run into it. Again, step 1, we don't have to do the absolute value bars are alone by itself on the other side of the equation, so we can split up into our cases. Positive case on the left, negative case on the right. Positive case, all we do is drop our absolute value bars. Negative case, we put what's inside in parentheses and put a negative outside of it. From there, solve it like a regular equation. So, non-variable term, I'm going to add. I get 3n plus 0, so I don't need to write it, equals 9 plus 12, which is 21. Next, I'm multiplying, so to undo that, I divide, and I'm left with n equals 7 as one of my solutions. Next, I am going to do my negative case. So this time, I distributed last time, this time I'm going to do it my way. Divide both sides by that negative. So you're left with 3n minus 12 equals negative 9. Now I'm going to use the opposite operation on the non-variable term. So I get 3n plus 0 equals negative 9 plus 12, which is 3. From here, the opposite of multiplication is division, so I do that to both sides, and I get n equals to positive 1 as my second solution. So up top, I'm going to write n equals 1 and 7. Try the U-tries, pause the video, and I will go over the next slide of examples. Alright, so if we look at these, we notice that we now need to do step 1, which is to get absolute value, alone. So if we look, the absolute value is not alone. In this first example and the second example, we have something on the same side as absolute value, and we can't have that. So what we do is we move it, just like we would in a normal equation if we wanted to get x by itself. So we're going to use the opposite operation here. Oop, I don't know why I picked 7. I need to use 8. That was silly. So I get absolute value of x equals 14 minus 8, which is 6. Now that I have my absolute value alone, I'm going to put a big box around this because this is the equation I use to split up into both my cases. So my positive case and my negative case. Positive, just drop the bars. So there's one solution. And my negative case is I put inside the bars in parentheses, put a negative on the outside. So then I divide by that negative. And I get x equals -6 as my second solution. So when I write my answer, I'm going to put them together. I have x equals -6 and 6. Let's move on to the other side. Again, I already pointed out that I need to move that -3. I need to have my absolute value bars by itself. So in order to do that, I'm going to move it by using the opposite operation, which is to add 3. X plus 7 equals 23. And my absolute value bars are alone, so I'm going to put my box around it. That's my important equation to split up into my cases. So from there, positive case and my negative case. Take what's inside, just drop the absolute value bars. X plus 7 equals 23. Over on this side, I put what's in the absolute value bars in parentheses, put a negative on the outside and set it equal to 23. Now let's go ahead and solve both of them. So if we look at the left side first, my positive case, I need to subtract 7 from both sides in order to get x alone. So I get x is equal to 23 minus 7, which is 16. My next one, I'm going to do an extra step. I'm going to divide by that negative. So I get x plus 7 equals -23. So now I need to apply my opposite operation to get x by itself, which is to subtract 7 from both sides. X equals -23 minus 7 is -30. So that is my second solution. So when I write my solutions at the top, I will say x equals -30 and 16. Thank you for listening, and try the U-Tries at the bottom of this page, and we will see you in class tomorrow.